our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stretton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stretton Centre on Peachy Road, Manopara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stretton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for His Worship the Mayor?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's meeting. Please be seated. And we'll open the meeting at 7 p.m. And I'll call for apologies. Do we have any apologies? No, there are no apologies. Everybody's present, which means there's no not presents. So we might move to item 2, the confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 27th of May 2025 be confirmed as a true and accurate record of proceedings. Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Smallwood-Smith. Does that find a seconder? Councillor Stroud.
Happy to second.
Does the mover and seconder wish to speak on the item? No. Does anyone have any changes or corrections to the said minutes or wishes to speak on the item? No. If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any? No. Move to item 4, Mayor's Report. Number of items that have happened this month, from the Positive Futures Expo, Comedy Campers, 60th Gang Show, a number of different other community events, Rotary Handover Dinner, Refugee Week events, number of items up on the screen, but you can read those at your leisure. And also in my Mayor's Report, we move to Councillor Hall's 10 years of service. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great privilege tonight to present a certificate of service to Councillor Shirley Halls in recognition of 10 years of dedicated service to local government within the City of Playford. Councillor Halls has called Playford home for over 35 years and was elected to council on the 8th of November 2014. Councillor Halls has sat on a number of different committees in her time at council, from Council's Corporate Governance Committee, a long-term member there, and has also previously represented the Council on the Norma Board and was Chair of the Norma Bailfield Management Committee. Councillor Halls is also involved in a number of different community organisations across the community for a long period of time, and Councillor Halls has also played a role in our Australia Day events, and you can also see her cooking a lovely Australia Day breakfast. Councillor Halls, on behalf of the City of Playford, we congratulate you on 10 years of service here at the City of Playford. So if you'd like to come forward, please. And Councillor Halls, if you'd like to come forward to say a few words.
My height. Okay. I'd like to thank the LGA for recognising the service to the community and to the Playford community who support their elected members. I think it's great that they support elected members by acknowledging the years of service that we do. And I'm glad to be around some other members in this room that have over 30 years of commitment to their community, and that is brilliant. I think collectively, if we were to add up all the years together, we'd be thousands of years of community service just in this room. So I am thankful for the support of our local community as well. They are, in electing us as their elected members, I think that it is brilliant. I'd like to say that only 30% of our residents in Playford actually vote for council elections, and we're one of the lowest, and I'd like to see that improve in the next election. So, but I thank them for their support as well, and their constant accolades as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. We'll move on to item 5, reports of representatives of council on other organisations. Are there any reports? No, they're listed there. We'll go to item 6, reports by councillors. I think most people have submitted, but does anyone want to speak? Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I'd like to
mention an event I went to last Friday along with Councillor Halls. It was the Australia Day Awards luncheon at the Convention Centre, and the guest speaker was none other than Neil Danaher. For those of you who may not know Neil Danaher, he is a motor neurone disease sufferer and has been since 2013. What an inspirational speaker. There weren't too many dry eyes in the room on Friday, and there was nearly 700 people there. It was very emotional. He now talks with the aid of a computer, but I felt so inspired, and I felt that he had told us that no matter what comes to you in life, you still fight on, and that's exactly what he's doing. He knows full well that his life is coming to an end, but I just have to say that, and I know Councillor Halls will agree with me, it was so emotional and he got a standing ovation. So I'd like to thank Council for allowing myself and Councillor Halls to go to this, because it was just one of the most wonderful memories that I will have in my lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Small-Smith. Councillor Halls.
Ooh. Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, I'd like to say that, yes, I attended the Australia Day luncheon on Friday. I was so impressed with how far Mr Danaher had come, considering that he wasn't expected to live past a certain time, and he has managed to last at least 20 years on top of what he was going to. But his talk was so moving. Yeah, there were tears in the room, and even to the one of the previous board members of the Australia Day Council that was sitting next to me. But they had, it was just so beautiful to see, and they did get, I can't remember the name of the school, Councillor. They had a school that did all the singing and the music for there, and they had portrayed a very beautiful dance about Mr Danaher and his illness and where he came from and how he's grown from that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. I think every other councillor submitted, but does anyone else wish to speak? If not, then we'll go information session record of attendance, which you'll find in your agenda. We'll go to item 7, reports of representatives, conferences and training programs. Are there any? No. I'm presuming, Councillor Halls, you've still got your light on, I presume.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, that's it. Go to item 8, questions on notice. There are a number of questions that are on notice there from, I think there was one from Councillor Marsh, Councillor Strowett, Councillor Small-Janek, Councillor Kerrison, from following up from previous council meetings. We then go to item 9, questions without notice. Are there any questions? Councillor Kerrison.
Thanks, Mayor Doherty. Just like to ask a quick question. So the question on notice on page 10 was really appreciated. Reference there to the impacts of any cost implications for Playford ratepayers are being currently determined. Just wanted to know if there's an indication on how long it might be before we've got those cost implications.
Thank you, Councillor Kerrison. Mr Green.
Through the Mayor, thank you, Councillor Kerrison. I have to say, firstly, we've not received a formal request from SA Water to bring forward renewal works, albeit we expect that might be coming soon. Along with that request, we'd be wanting to understand what the SA Water contribution to that might be. So I guess that will have a bearing on what the cost impacts are to the City of Playford. We will have an understanding of what the impacts of bringing it forward probably within a week or so in terms of costs, but again, we need to check that against what the SA Water contribution might look like before we've got a definitive answer.
Are there any other questions? Councillor Halls.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not sure who this is aimed at, but staff. I would like to know whether all of our buildings are, have a security alarm, and where that security alarm is answered, whether we have a service that goes or to answer it, or whether it goes to somebody's phone. And the second question would be, do all of our council buildings in Playford have external lighting for night time from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m?
Thank you, Councillor Halls. I'll ask Mr Roberts if he'd like to take that question.
Through the Chair, thank you for the question. Yes, all of our sites do have alarms. That's all of our community, corporate and sporting facilities, and that is patrolled through an alarm monitoring company. I don't know who the alarm monitoring company is, but I can take that on notice and get back to you.
Yep.
And the second question was?
It's about the
lighting,
security lighting
yep.
on the buildings.
Yep, absolutely. All of our buildings have security lighting, which is either controlled through a PE cell. So it obviously comes on at when it's dark and goes off when it's daylight.
So maybe I could get with you after the meeting, because there are a couple of places I'd like to highlight that are not actually current.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Roberts. Are there any other questions? If not, does Councillor Kerrison and Councillor Halls like their question and their accompanying response be recorded in the minutes? So moved by Councillor Kerrison, seconded by Councillor Halls. I'm presuming the mover and seconder aren't wishing to speak to that. Does any other councillor wish to speak to that? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We move to item 10, petitions, which are nil. We move to item 11, deputations, representations. Councillors, we've got a number of deputations this evening, and you'll also be aware of the email that was sent today advising that we do have the additional deputation that does meet the timeframes of the council and had come in after the agenda had been printed, which you received on your email today from a Mr. I hope I pronounced Edwin's last name right, Mr. Edwin El Mahassanani, in relation to council rates. So that will now form 11.3, but we'll go in the order the deputations have been received and as are printed in the agenda. So our first deputation is on the Anglevale Historic Bridge from Mr. Sean Reardon. Mr. Reardon present. Mr. Reardon, welcome for your deputation. So just got to run through a few things. Deputation up to 5 minutes. At the 4-minute mark, you'll receive a 1-minute warning. Your time will start when you start speaking. At the conclusion of your deputation, please stay at the podium as there may be questions from the council. Time will start when you start speaking.
Thank you, and good evening, and thank you for the opportunity tonight to talk about the historic Anglevale Bridge. I'm sure you're aware of the significance of the Anglevale Bridge, originally built back in 1876. What I want to talk about is how we got to the stage of a bridge falling into the river and where we're up to right now. After 90 years of cars and trucks using that bridge to cross Gawler River, in 1988, the local community, assisted by the City of Manapara, restored the Anglevale Bridge. After being built back in 1875 and lasting 90 years, why, just 35 years after being restored, did the bridge, under the care and control of Council, fall into the river in 2023? Back in January 2021, the Light Regional Council publicly recorded that a bridge replacement would cost $1.2 million. If in 2021, there was an understanding of a need to replace or restore the bridge, and there was an understanding of the cost, how did we end up just letting the bridge fall into the river? And why is it now confidential? Despite the Light Regional Council discussing the replacement of the Anglevale Bridge and the costing in an open session of Council as far back in 2021, this Council has chosen to close the doors of transparency at least 6 times in relation to the Anglevale Bridge. Why? Do you not trust the community with that information? The Council's attitude to transparency is reflected in the fact that in the last 12 Council meetings, the doors to transparency have been closed 28 times. Yes, 28 times in just 12 meetings. Examples of when Council has excluded the public from overseeing the decision-making process in the past include the hotel development, which resulted in years of legal action And as I understand it, council now buying back the land at twice the price you sold it for. Prince George Plaza, $11 million spent for a fountain and a bit of grass. Car park, $8 million spent. Don't really need to say much more about the car park, do we? And the ice arena, twice it's been floated. We still wait for the blades to hit the ice, and there's not even been a blade of grass moved. Now, I'm not here tonight to say, yes, the Angle Vale Bridge should be rebuilt. I can't for two reasons. Firstly, I don't have the information because council has decided it's not in the public interest to let the community know all the information. Secondly, this is not a decision that should be made without the involvement of the community. With the limited information the community currently has, the community is divided with so many questions, including, could council be faced with an order to restore the bridge under Section 39 of the Heritage Places Act 1993? Some in the community are also of a view that an area like Angle Vale, which is still lacking footpaths in so many areas, would the money be better spent on footpaths? The question is, if council vote not to spend the money to rebuild the bridge, where will that money be spent? Remember, it was in the budget before the bridge fell down. So where did the money go? Now, to finish, this is an opportunity to respect the past while we look into the future. We've plans for the Northern Parklands, just to the east of the area, and 40,000 people moving into the River Lee. The Gawler River has the potential to be a highlight of the region with a linear parkway. The handbrake is that from River Lee to Gawler, there is just one pedestrian bridge over Gawler River. And people in Angle Vale can't even get to it because there's an expressway in the way. Compare this to Smith Creek that has 15 crossings. This is an opportunity to respect the past and move to the future. What I ask for tonight is just one thing only, transparency. Thank you.
You have 21 seconds left if you wish to use it.
No, I'm sure the next speaker will add to what I've had to say.
Are there any questions for Mr Reardon? There's no questions, then thank you for your deputation.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the next deputation, 11.2, Deputation Angle Vale Heritage Bridge, Mr Pat Vergara. Mr Vergara, if you'd like to come forward, please. That's all right. That's all right. Before you start, Mr Vergara, I've got to read a little spill out for you. You get 5 minutes at the 4 minute mark. If you're still going, I'll give you the 1 minute warning. Your time will start when you start speaking. At the conclusion of your remarks, please stay at the podium as there may be questions from the councillors. Your time will start when you start speaking.
Thank you. I'm just come over here to air my views as a passionate resident. I've been brought up in Angle Vale, and we're ratepayers from both sides of the river. The bridge played an extensive role in my time, and it was being used extensively. What I found out that's going on around at the moment is that we're virtually disregarding the past, and that bridge is of very significance to this area. It's a growing area, and it should not be allowed to vanish. If you go over there, you'll see the retaining walls on either end, and it's not a good feeling at all. I would like to think that all resources could be looked at to look at preserving, rebuilding the bridge, and in certain areas, maybe improve certain areas so it creates less maintenance over a period of time. The bridge was rebuilt, as the previous speaker said, 35 years ago, and it was neglected. I don't want to go into who's to blame, because when the bridge fell down, I was there. And I had stated, I said, are you happy about what's happening? And it's been neglected, and it's really tragic that an icon bridge like that, I think it's the only one in Australia, can let it go, and once things like that are gone, they're never replaced. And, you know, that's our history. It's played a significant role from the 1800s, and I reckon it'd be a real shame if we don't exhaust all avenues to rebuild that bridge and improve it, because when you look at the areas of building up, there's a lot of people there, and it should be open for public consultation. To me, you know, that bridge is significant to me, and I like to think that everybody else gets on board, have public consultation, and exhaust every avenue to rebuild it. And that's all I'm here about. What the previous speaker said, I agree 100% with what he said, and, you know, I won't let this go, you know, if you shove it under the carpet and just take no note of it. It's got to be, you know, acknowledge that that's an icon and a relic to this area and a piece of history, and we've got to do everything humanly possible to protect that. That's all I've got to say. That's all I've got to say.
Thanks, Mr. Vergara. You still have 1:55 if you want to use
right.
it.
I'll start swearing if I hang
Okay,
in
no.
So,
all right, I'm glad that you've allowed us to do that.
Thank you for listening.
Just before you go, is there any questions for Mr. Vergara? Councillor Norris.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. I guess, obviously, there's a lot of sentiment in regards. There we go. Sorry. I guess there's a lot of sentiment in regards to the way the bridge was built. It was obviously heritage listed previously. I guess I want to sort of understand, are you going to feel the same way if it's essentially made out of concrete and...
No.
Yep, so we're looking at an original...
And maybe with probably still reinforcement underneath.
Yep.
So what's happened last time won't reoccur.
Okay.
Because virtually that bridge was pretty solid. It was a matter of being white and treated or whatever, and that's why it was eaten where the structure is, and as a result, there was a scaffold there, it was removed and it collapsed. Okay. And we're just, as I said, we're losing, that's history there, and we should try and hold on to everything we've got.
Thank you.
That's all.
Councillor Antoulis.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Vergara, for your passionate speech in relation to the bridge. Can you just tell us what specifically does the bridge hold to you and your family? Why is it so sentimental to you? And
well, we've been brought up in the area, and we've used that bridge extensively. But a lot of people don't even know, even down Riverbanks Road, there was a walking bridge. There's still part of it that was utilised to cross the river when it was flowing, and as a result, it broke it up at once, but it's still there. And the Anglevale Bridge there was used extensively back in those days, so it was an everyday thing. And, you know, obviously it's got sentimental value, and to see it go in that direction, you just have a bad, you know, you've got a bad taste in your mouth that you see things like that happen. Because we as ratepayers, we deserve something. And as far as I'm concerned, that bridge is important to the area. Important, it's got a role to play, you know, on the historic side of things, and it should be, you know, maintained at all costs. Sure. And I think we can, if we all pull together to resurrect it, and we got something pretty special, as far as I'm concerned, and that could be utilised as a walking bridge. There's not a walking bridge there anyway, yeah. And especially when the previous speaker said about the linear park and all that. How great it would be to integrate the bridge with that. You know, it just what else have we got in that area? We've got nothing else. Yes. So it's sentimental value to me, to my family, and I just feel, you know, it's a bad feeling that it's went the way it has, and I'd like to think that the council. You know, could focus on, and you know, if there needs public consultation, so be it. But it needs something to be done to focus on, to try and resurrect that if it's humanly possible. I think we deserve that as ratepayers, and I'd like to think that everybody's on board to do something about it.
Yes, thank you. Just a further follow-up question, if I may, Mayor. So I understand that you want the bridge to be reinstated.
Absolutely.
As historically close to its original concept.
Yes, as I said, to compromise, there could be some steel undercarriage to make sure that it's, if anything unforeseen happens, the bridge won't collapse. Yes. Just as a sort of a reinforcement, but the bridge itself, it's the same bridge as what we've previously had. That's all. I understand. But because if you had an undercarriage underneath, that wouldn't have collapsed anyway. Yes,
sure. But I gather from what you're saying, you want people to have their say. So it might not be the case that the majority of people want what you want, but you want people to have their say.
Absolutely.
So you believe public consultation is important.
Absolutely. Public consultation. Let the ratepayers decide. And if everybody's in accordance, that we exhaust all avenues to, if we can get funding in any way possible to make sure that the bridge gets reinstated to its, former glory, so to speak. So that's.
Thank you, Mr. Vergara.
No, thank you.
Mr. Green, may I ask a question of staff? Can I ask, does council have a responsibility in relation to the fact that the bridge collapsed? It was under our care and control with Light Regional Council, and the fact that it was state heritage listed, or is. Are there any ramifications as a result of the bridge collapsing that anyone's aware of?
All right. Ms Mitson, are you able to provide a response? Mr Vergara, I'll just get you to stand to the side.
Yeah, sure.
And then if there are any other questions of staff, we'll wait till after in case there's any other questions of Mr Vergara. Ms Mitson.
Thank you for the question through the chair. The short answer is no. We're not going to experience any penalties. We obviously did report it to Heritage SA at the time and sought their advice at the time. So no, there isn't any further action from them. Of note, the Bluestone abutments that remain are still a heritage place, so they are still heritage listed, and we still need to take care of those.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ms Mitson. Are there any other questions for Mr Vergara? Councillor Strowett.
Thank you, Mr Vergara, for your deputation. Personally, I have a question as to how many people do you personally feel that will utilise the bridge if we were to rebuild the bridge?
Well, there'll be a substantial amount of people utilising it. If it's there, it will be utilised, and it's been utilised before. As I said, the existing bridge is not catered for pedestrian crossing. And part of that, and as I said, as we're talking about being a linear park, it'll be fantastic to incorporate both sides of the river, and it'll be utilised, there's no doubt whatsoever.
Okay, yeah, I only asked that question to you due to the fact that I know multiple people in the new riverbanks, Muirvale, Parkvale, have no idea the bridge is there, and that's why I asked that question.
Well, they have no idea because the bridge isn't there, is it? Used to be, yes.
Are there any other questions?
And then just hang on a minute. Could I?
Yeah, you can finish.
And the other issue too is not just the usage. It's a relic that it's a historic bridge that of our past, and it should be maintained. It should be maintained, because it's been there all these years. And it's something, it's been used for advertisement extensively over the years. A lot of people identify the area with the bridge. And, obviously that all we got is photos. There's nothing else. I'd like to think we got something.
Councillor Onuzans has a question for you.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Mr Vergara, for your presentation. I have a question for you. I know you're having a deputation here at the City of Playford. Have you considered bringing deputation as well at the Light Regional Council? Yeah. Have you considered as well?
No, look, I found about this and I just wanted to aerate. I'm a passionate ratepayer, I'm a passionate local. I was brought up in this area and I needed to have my say. I get pretty rolled up with a lot of things and I thought, well, I might as well come here and make a fool of myself for a little bit. I've got nothing to do at home.
Okay, I just thought that it might help your cause. I mean,
Yeah, no. Well,
it's
as
good
I
for
said,
them to hear as well what you're saying to us.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
We exist. We like to utilise every existing avenue to achieve the end goal, and that's what I'm here for. And I just wanted to make aware there is people out there that care. I'd like to go just a little bit further. And I mean, I've recently bought the Gawler River Church and Cemetery, and I purchased not for a revenue raiser, but I bought it because it was for sale, and people wanted to turn that into a home. I want to return that to a usable church. And I just don't want to just push my barrier, but I mean, it was something else we would have lost, and we can't afford to do that.
Okay, thank you.
That's all. If there's any other way that I can be utilised in any way to help or anything, I'm more than happy to hear anything that anybody got, any suggestions. But also I'd like to, for the members, for the council members here, to think about it. Think about it, at least we leave something behind. It's part of our history, and I like to think that, that we can do something about it to maintain that and rebuild it and show we got something there.
Are there any other questions for Mr Vergara? No, not a question for Mr Vergara. There's no other questions for Mr Vergara. Thank you very much for your presentation. You've done a great job.
And I'd like to apologise. I'm not a public speaker. I just try to aerate my views as good as possible. Thank you for your listening to me.
Thank you, Mr Vergara. Councillor Stroll.
This is probably a question directly to the staff, but my question is in regards to the bluestone wall, as Janie has just described. I understand that it's historically listed and the council is looking after the wall. Is there any reason why there is graffiti all over that wall?
Mr Welsh.
Through the Mayor, is the question why we're not removing the graffiti?
Yes.
I have to take it on notice, but I'm assuming it's to do with the issues associated with accessing the site at the moment, whether staff can do that safely and whether it can be done by maintaining the integrity of the abutments as well.
The only reason why I asked that question is in regards to the email that we have received today from a resident, and there's photos attached to the email, and it was only taken on Saturday, and there is graffiti everywhere. It's actually appalling.
Thank you, Councillor Stewart. We'll now move on to our third deputation this evening, which is now 11.3, deputation by Mr Edwin El Mahasani in relation to council rates. Please come forward. I've got to give you the same spiel as I've given everybody else, just to be fair. 5 minutes at the 4-minute mark, I'll give you a warning if you're still going, you've got a minute left. Your time will start when you start speaking. At the conclusion of your remarks, please stay at the podium as there may be some questions from the council, and your time will start when you start speaking.
And I commend you in attempting to pronounce my surname. Many have tried and failed. So.
Thank you.
So I don't want this to be a rant about rates and whatnot. So I want to address, I guess, a particular situation where I'm a ratepayer close to major subdevelopment, but I own a substantial piece of land. So I live in Penfield Gardens, which is just a stone throw away from Anglevale. My home is about as old as I am, nearly 50 years old, so it's not an opulent home by any means. And I'm going to use myself as a test case, right? And I'm going to compare this to someone else with a similar block of land in another council, just to show you what I'm getting at. So in the space of 2 years, my rates, after rebates, my rates have gone up $828, from $2,160 to nearly $3,000. That's a 38% jump in 2 years. Breaking it down, from 23 to 24, it went up by more than 10%, and over the last year by more than 20%. That is inexcusable, right? You cannot justify a jump of 20% in 1 year for council rates. I'm not made of money, right? And I get that people, rates increase, but that is just not a reasonable jump. Especially when we take into account things like cost of living crisis, right? By way of comparison, I've got a friend of mine, also on 10 acres, on 2 wells, and he's just next door to the Liberty Towers subdevelopment. He pays $700 less than me. Same block of land. When I queried the council about this, I was told, quote unquote, I do so because the property has gone up. Yeah, it's gone up because there's been rampant subdevelopment close to where I am, right? Not because my property's been upgraded or anything like that. And I'm going to digress a little bit. Not only have my rates gone up, but Curtis Road and Walmer Road are an absolute nightmare in peak hour. So it's not like I'm getting extra value for money for the extra $900 that I'm paying, right? Everything has gone down. And not only that, but I'm also greeted by the traffic light just before a roundabout on Heaslip Road, something which I've never seen before, and I've lived in Sydney. So that's a bonus, I guess. So all I'm asking for is the council to take a common sense approach to people like me who live in areas with substantial block of land close to subdevelopments, because the house prices are going up at a ridiculous rate. It went up in 1 year from 850 to nearly 1.5 million, right? There's got to be a common sense approach to rate setting when that is happening, not just apply a blanket rule and go, well, your property's gone up, rates are going to go up by, 40% in the space of 2 years. Yeah, it is, I'm not looking to subdivide, I'm not looking to do any of that. My home, as I said, is nearly 50 years old. So I'm not rich, I just want a common sense approach to rate setting for someone like me. I accept a small increase, but 20% in a year, it's ridiculous. That's all.
Okay, you still have 1:50 if you want to use it.
No, I'm good, thank you.
No? Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. El-Masani? Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks. I'll leave this one will be to staff, so I'm happy just to see if Councillor Kerrison has a question. My one will be to staff.
Look, thank you for the deputation, and I think your concern is often felt by many who are in areas which growth is encroaching. So I don't think you're alone, and I think throughout history there's many who've been in a similar situation. My question to you would be, obviously there's an objection process through Revenue SA, because we don't set values on property here at Council, it's done by the Value General's Department. And there is an objection process, and me coming from a real estate background, I would ask you, have you looked at similar sales in the area?
Yep.
And if there's a case, have you put an objection to Revenue SA?
It is. I have done that before.
Yep.
The value is slightly higher than perhaps I would say, but it comes back, but even so, even if you take $100,000 to $200,000 less, it's the value in the dollar. If you still, okay, the price might not have gone up, $500,000, it might have gone up 400,000. I'm still going to get whacked with a substantial increase, more than what is reasonable, right? So I'm asking for a common sense approach, something which goes, and I'm a mathematician, right? It is very simple to go, right, we're going to take a maximum of, 5-7% increase year on year out, regardless of how much your property's gone up, right? There's got to be a bit of common sense here, because you can't just say your property goes up by $500,000 for things that I haven't caused, arguably the council has caused by allowing subdivision, to go and say, right, this is happening because not only the rates, it's also the traffic, right? We're going to take we're going to apply a bit of common sense and go, right, your rates are going to go up, but it's going to be proportional. It's going to be something sensible about this. That's all I ask. I'm not saying rates can go up, but it's got to be a bit of common sense in this.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions for Mr. El-Masani? Do you have a question for? Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Docky. Can I just ask, are you getting the rural rebate at all? Are you receiving the rural rebate?
Oh, I get a little bit, $350 or whatever it is. But and so the values that are given, they're after that.
Yeah.
So
I'm just confirming you get the 10% rural rebate?
Yeah, I do get it. Yeah. Cool. So what I've listed is before those rebates. If I took those out, it'd be even worse.
That's good. I just want to make sure that happens. And my next question is to staff. Yep.
Are there any other questions for Mr. El-Masani? If not, then thank you for your deputation, sir.
Cheers. Thank you.
Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Doherty, Sam, do we have I know some councils have brought in a max percentage of when there's obviously evaluation done and there's a significant disproportion. Do we have a max at all in our rating policy that says anything greater than X, it can't exceed?
Mr. Green.
Through the Mayor, thanks Councillor Marsh. Not holistically across the city. We have had a transition arrangement in a couple of the townships historically where there was a capped increase, but no, not holistically across the city. That would be a rating policy issue to work through.
All right, councillors, that's our deputations, and we thank all of those making deputation this evening. We now move on to item 12, motions on notice. We have item 12.1, motion on notice, waste management, education, service review and response to illegal dumping. Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Tonight, the motion before us, I'm not going to read it out. I think everyone's had a good opportunity to read it. We're having more and more problems with illegal dumping and litter throughout our community. And it's more and more feedback's coming back from the community about how a city looks, and I'm predominantly receiving a lot of it in the rural communities. So I think it's time to review, and what really upsets me is you go along and look at most of this illegal dumping on our roadsides, and it's everything that I could dispose of in my normal waste bins, all right? You see green waste, that, and I think it's just, dare I say, lazy, or people who are busy who get caught in a scram and last minute load it in a trailer and dump it. These are all things that we can get rid of in our green waste bin, little bit by little bit. Our red bin, there's so many options with Norma. My one concern was I did ring up Norma as a ratepayer and ask some questions. I didn't actually get the supporting answers that I would have liked at that point in time. So I think it's really a review for what we're doing as council, what's Norma doing, our communication, how we're educating the community, because I think there's so much more we could be doing. So this motion sets to tackle that. There is one little part there. The thing that's probably that I see dumped that we can't normally do is tyres. But generally, every time I get my tyres replaced, I pay for my new tyres and there's a fee in the dump to get rid of the tyres and my new tyre cost. So those people who aren't taking their tyres home to dump them or anything else, I think that's a concern, and I think we need to investigate ways of managing that. And I think discussions with the state government regarding a tyre deposit scheme would probably be one opportunity, and it's an opportunity for Norma to see how their role might play out in this as well. So hopefully I've got everyone's support. I think it's time for that to be reconsidered, and yeah, I'd appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Councillor Kerrison, to find a seconder, Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. Happy to support anything to try and curb the illegal dumping, which costs the ratepayers some $1 million a year, and we've got 5 full-time staff that drive around picking up illegal dumped rubbish. But I think it's very important not to just criticise our own community, because we are a growth region, and it wouldn't surprise me if the number of people who are working in this city or transiting through are being lazy and finding some dirt roads and throwing the rubbish. But can I just highlight, we did a great campaign about fighting organic waste a couple of years ago, when we really had a punch to it to try and entice an educational and a behaviour change of the city of Playford to really start to divert FOGO waste bin, which about 1/3 of your red bin is filled with organic waste. So can I just ask staff, maybe this is something, and the fact that we've got a significant wish list individually as councillors, we want to see our city presentation improved. Maybe this is a significant item that each year we continue to educate our staff on through a number of our social, or if it's through our Playford News, or if it's through when our rates come out, that we continuously put it front and centre, the various options that Norma has. And I've harped on a lot with the Norma board that we've got 1 or 1.5 FTE education person that looks after 3 growth councils here in the city of Playford. It's shambolic. We have got someone who's so under-resourced and could be better engaged amongst the three councils that I think we could probably lift the game up a little bit and participate and help send that message. Stuff like, as fellow councillor spoke about, you can upgrade your red lid bin, you can get additional FOGO bin, you can get a free trailer hire from the Paraka, you can drop off foam, you can drop polystyrene, I should say, you can get rid of domestic household waste for free. There's so much free stuff and free services that's distributed the cost amongst the three constituent councils that I think we need to do better with our education. So definitely commend this one here, and I really think that number 5 and 6 is a strategic direction that maybe Sam and Mayor Doherty, when you meet with the CEO of Norma, we could probably hammer him a little bit about how tyres are broad across the whole of the 3 cities. Norma, what are we doing to actually take in that waste and repurpose it? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Norris.
Thank you. I actually had a quick question for staff, and I'm just trying to rack my brain, and I'm not sure if it's actually happened. Have we ever had an educational piece in the Playford News around, obviously, what Norma, not what Norma does, but what goes in what bin? Because I understand you can put pamphlets in with the rates, etc. A lot of people just grab their rates and throw the rest of the stuff out. They don't read it. But I know that people really want to read the Playford News. They often say they don't get it, or they want to come and grab it from the Civic Centre. So I guess, I think that would be a really good way to start that educational piece as well, is to actually put it in there. So have we historically done something there? We did? Yeah.
Mr. Green.
Through the Mayor, Councillor Norris, I couldn't answer that question with any real certainty, given there's Playford News has been around for a long time. I'd be surprised if we haven't at some point in time, but I think the suggestion that we could use it as a tool to get the messaging out is a reasonable one, and we will certainly consider that.
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to bring up is, and look, I came from a massive household myself. I have 7 younger siblings, so, trying to understand and get things to go in what bin and just to try and make it work. Completely relate to that, and I understand, even with the cost of living pressures that we have now, that there are multiple families living in one household, and there's just, I guess, yes, it is an educational piece, but then again, considering, what can we do to help them out? This is probably actually a question to the normal people on the board. Did we, from memory, increase the bin allowance for larger households? No, we need to. Because obviously that's reiterating why we're starting to get household waste in the streets, not just furniture. So I definitely think that's something you guys need to take back.
Thank you, Councillor Norris. Councillor Halls.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just a bit concerned about number 5 of this. I agree that, tyre deposits for the tyres would be a great idea. But I am concerned that if how we would manage to fund that, because we'd have to fund Norma an extra amount of money to get that. So where would we get that extra money? Would we have to get it from council, through council, which means we get it through our residents' rates? I'm just concerned that this could be another cost shift just of our residents, and that could be a problem.
Mr. Graham.
Through the Mayor, thanks, Councillor Halls. My interpretation of the motion is that it would be a discussion with the state government about introducing a statewide tyre deposit scheme, and I'm looking Councillor Kerrison's way and he's giving a nod, very similar to the container deposit scheme that currently exists. So I don't think it would be funded by the City of Playford, in short.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Kerrison has the right to close if he wishes.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. No, I just wanted to confirm that the intention is as Mr Green has explained, yeah, it's really about investigating the extension of services as well and how we can minimise it, as we've discussed. So, thank you.
Thank you, councillors. We have the motions before us. There's no further discussion. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 12.2, motion on notice request to Australia Post for residential mail service in Virginia Growth Area. Councillor Marsh.
Thanks, Mayor Doherty. I have got a updated motion on notice just due to some situation change. And just while my colleagues are reading that, we've expanded the advocacy of this motion to not just include Virginia, but to include Riverlea Park, which also falls in line with this chaotic decision that has been implemented by Australia Post. The original motion talked about Virginia residents going to Elizabeth Post Office, which has now changed. They now have to go to the Burton LPO. So within the last fortnight, or probably within a few days, we've got residents within the Virginia region that, let's confuse everyone because I'll confuse myself as well right here. Within a matter of days, they received a notification by Australia Post that said that if you have a PO box, you can collect your parcels and your letters from the Virginia LPO. That letter then also mentioned that if you don't have a PO box, because due to the restrictions in the size of the Australia Post LPO in Virginia, you no longer can go to your local LPO and you must now drive to Elizabeth to pick up your parcels and mail. Within a few days, I think it is, Australia Post then changed their decision very quickly. Unfortunately, that notification didn't really come out as rapid as it did or should have, and we had residents driving to Elizabeth trying to collect their mail to only find that the decision had been made that Virginia residents now need to go to Burton to pick up their mail. Residents then continue to go to Elizabeth to then go to Burton to then be told by Burton staff that your parcels and your materials and stuff are still sitting at Elizabeth and is still currently in transit over to Burton. We then had notification from Riverlea Park residents who used to go to Virginia to now be told that you need to go to Two Wells to pick up your material down there as well. To add another layer of cake on this by the fantastic service provider of Australia Post, there was also some further incorrection of those who do have PO boxes. My belief is your parcels, you need to go and collect that at Burton as well. This is one of the most historical, poor performance, under delivery, clawback service provided by Australia Post. It's interesting that 4 years ago somewhat, a number of councillors with the community and residents did a poll and door knocked every single household in Virginia Grove to request for a petition to be done. This petition was ran by Australia Post. Don't know where you put your petition when probably 80 or 90% of the houses don't have letterboxes, but they're either on the doormat stuck indoors. And it's interesting that of the 594 letters that went out for participation, about 40% yeses came back. That didn't meet the quota of 50 plus 1 to get a change in your service delivery. But what's interesting is, and don't quote me, I reckon there was only probably about 20 no's. Everything else, the couple of hundred, were people who probably didn't receive their polling, probably didn't care whatever service delivery they want, but the fact that they did not submit their poll, it automatically counted as a no, so therefore you didn't get a change in your service delivery. Then we had our colleagues, Matt Burnell and Nick Champion, encourage Australia Post, because you can only do it every 2 years, to do another poll. This one was more broader than Virginia Grove, and it went out to 853 residents. Why? Because the community expects when you come to a growth area that you get an urban standard mail service. So 853 letters went out. I don't know if everyone actually got them, because I've got phone calls and messages from people to say that they didn't actually receive theirs. Returned 446. 52% of people actually said yes or no. 407 outstanding. Of the 446 that were returned, 412 said yes. 48% said yes. Unfortunately, the 33 no's, plus the 440 ones that didn't return, has yet again made it as a no. This just demonstrates, here we are in the City of Playford asking for more footpaths, more stormwater, better roads, but Australia Post, out of their ridiculous, untouched disconnection with our community, have chosen to claw back a service and not listen to the community that have asked for an urban service delivery. So what this is for, this is to align with the advocacy of our federal member Matt Burnell, our state member Nick Champion, is to align with their position and ask Australia Post to return the service delivery back, but start listening to the Virginia and the Riverlea community. And it should not take every 2 years for a divide to happen within the growth area for a poll to be done, because we know that the rules around the poll are totally ridiculous. So I'm just looking forward to the support and with everyone here in the chamber. And I hope maybe this is a clear understanding that the service delivery out there needs a total revamp, and hopefully we'll catch up with the times. Thank you.
Find a seconder, Councillor Rentoulis.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Happy to second the motion and happy to speak to it. Yeah, look, I concur with everything that my fellow councillor has laid out, in particular the methodology of the poll. To be quite frank, it's ridiculous. It's almost it's designed for the no's. This is an objective person looking from the outside in. It's clearly designed to get a particular result. When a majority of people are saying yes, they're actively engaged in the process, and only a fraction of those that said yes say no, and then the others who either weren't even aware of it, aren't interested, just don't care, say nothing, do nothing, and that's counted as a no, then unfortunately, as I said, it's not unreasonable to conclude that it's almost like they're looking for a particular result, which is wrong. I also would like to focus on the fact that residential mail delivery is required in both Virginia and Riverlea. It's required now. We don't need to wait an additional 2 years to do another poll. That causes a lot of division. The other thing that it does is it pits people against each other. It pits people that don't want mail delivery against those that want to retain their mailbox. Or, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of this, you have people now attacking the owners of the local post office. So it's really divisive. So Australia Post should show some leadership here, take it out of the hands of the local post office, shouldn't require the people of Virginia and Riverlea Park to do some poll, and should just instate delivery to people's homes. For suburbs the size of Virginia and Riverlea Park, they continue to experience growth, they're on par with other suburbs that do have roadside delivery. The other thing that I want to say is I also commend the advocacy of the federal member, Matt Burnell, and the state member, Nick Champion, MP. I believe our fellow councillor, Councillor Vanderpeer, has also assisted, so commend her as well. So yeah, this is a united front. Hopefully a letter from the Mayor to the CEO of Australia Post has some weight behind it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Vanderpeer.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I just want to add to what my fellow ward councillors have said and just say I think this is really great to see that this council is taking a stand on an issue that directly impacts its residents. I know in the past council has taken views to not engage if the issue doesn't sit within its jurisdiction, but this is really pleasing to see, and I do throw my full support behind it. Not to sort of go over what's already been said, but I remember the second poll that was done, and you know the confidence that the community held for the outcome of this poll. There seemed to be a lot of positivity. I joined Matt Burnell on the doors. We door knocked every single house in Virginia with a lot of help, of course, to check that people had received their poll and to ask them to vote, and to vote however they wanted to, not in a particular way. There were lots of mixed views, which is fair enough, but it seemed very positive on the doors. So I was really, really disappointed to see the result. And just to add to what Councillor Marsh had said with the results of the poll, I believe it was 92% of respondents voted yes, even though that represented 48 or below 50% of everyone who had allegedly received the poll. So it was really disappointing. Like Councillor Rentula says, it's not a nice time in the community. It pits people against each other when we're having these debates. And it was just really disappointing to see all that effort go to little avail. So I think we've all had interesting experiences with Australia Post, and I'm personally very disappointed. I wrote to Australia Post the other day just to express my personal view in the matter, and to reinstate that what we've seen over the past week or so is a perfect reason as to why a direct home delivery service needs to be implemented in this area, and I think we just simply deserve better.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillor wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Marsh, you have the right to close if you wish. No. Councillors, we have the motions before us. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 13, motions without notice. Are there any motions? Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Mayor. My motion starts with that Council write to the Minister for Housing to formally raise the issue of homelessness within the City of Playford and request the following. 1, clarification on the availability of emergency housing and accommodation options for individuals experiencing homelessness during extreme weather events within the region. 2, advise and direction on how Council can appropriately and safely manage instances of homelessness, particularly in and around high risk and high traffic areas such as major roads. 3, guidance on how Council can lawfully and compassionately assist in relocating individuals who may be at risk due to their location, and what support services or partnerships may be available to facilitate this process. Can I speak? I am raising this motion tonight as a reminder to the state government that homelessness is real in the City of Playford. It concerns me as a councillor, in particular, safety and vulnerability to see homeless persons on a strip of land within a 60-kilometre-hour zone and an 80-kilometre-hour zone, all within 500 metres of our new CBD of the North. Please consider my motion tonight to keep vulnerable people safe within our local community.
Thank you, Councillor Stroud. Does it find a seconder? Councillor Craig. Councillor Craig.
Yes, Mr Mayor. I commend Councillor Stroud on the motion. I think we really need a strategy in the City of Playford. I know it's very apparent. You see the little colony there that's developing along the main North Road. It sounds like it's an escalating issue. I know personally I've got property where I've got a homeless person dropping drug needles and all kinds of things, lots of associated problems with all of that. There's a real issue in the City of Playford, and we can only see it escalating as time goes by. Likely it will get worse. We could imagine we'll follow the USA with that kind of just that mounting problem. And once you get a little outcrop of people, sadly the people in that situation living in tents, then it just multiplies. You'll end up with a whole strip of tents and who knows what. I think that we really need to get our heads together as a council on this issue and get some advice amongst from staff and from other quarters to get our head around this issue, because I think we're only just at the start of what's going to become a real major issue, even more than it already is. So I commend the motion.
Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Yes, thank you. Look, I support this motion. Last Friday, travelling by train to Adelaide between Elizabeth Railway Station and just down past Elizabeth South, railway station, there were 5 or 6 tents and lots of rubbish around where people are living there. So to me, it looks like the homelessness is increasing in Playford, and I think we need to act because people are now starting to complain about the way these people are living. And I mean, if they weren't living with so much rubbish around them, it might not be so bad, but we do need to take the bull by the horns and do something about it because to me it's becoming an epidemic of homeless people.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Rentoulis.
Thank you, Mayor. I certainly support the motion as outlined by my fellow councillor. It is a crisis. It's becoming significantly worse every day. You see it. And cost of living, just the cost of life in general. So I agree there needs to be some sort of holistic, uniform approach between state governments and local governments. The other thing too is I believe that we should be endeavouring to support organisations such as the Salvation Army and local churches. I'm involved with a church that does an outreach in Salisbury every Friday night, and we serve food to people that are homeless for the most part. And I know that that church, along with a group of 6 other churches, what they're trying to do is rotate a night during the week. So 7 churches, 7 different nights during the week where they bring in homeless people. And my understanding from talking to the pastors is that Salisbury, the Salisbury-related churches and also Playford-related churches have been in contact with council. Can our staff talk to us about that? Has there been anything in relation to that? For example, Hope Central, have they spoken to Playford Council or any church from Salisbury about helping them to house homeless people, basically?
Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, through the Mayor. So what you're referring to is the winter shelter program. Council, we've been actively working with different church groups in establishing that in Playford. It hasn't been trialled yet, but it will be this winter, I believe. So a lot of work was done last year in preparation for this year. We've also received more interest recently, which involves a development application that needs to go through because it's a council-owned building. So we're very much supporting that and promoting it from our position.
Excellent. And just a follow-up question, the state government is also helping as well to reduce red tape and the like? They did. So they introduced some policy change last year, which is allowing temporary accommodation for short periods of time in places of worship. No worries. Thank you. Excellent.
Councillor Norris.
Thank you. I have a couple of things I want to bring up. So I know that, I think it was last year that I brought up about what council was obviously doing in relation to Code Blue circumstances. And I know at the time we sort of discussed and were told that there were a lot of legalities around being able to open council facilities, insurances, security, employees, and all of that. I guess I want a better understanding or a broader understanding of why we see other council areas having Code Blue. They essentially open up facilities or they've got facilities available, and we haven't had that capacity to do so. Like what is the red tape here that's stopping council from opening up a facility to assist, especially considering we know, and most people have just said around the chamber, and I'm sure they're out in the suburbs as well, in the outer, but a lot of them reside within the CBD. So what are the legalities that are in place and are, like you just said, in regards to churches, right? They've loosened the rules to allow for short-term accommodation. Have they not done the same for us?
Mr. Graham.
Through the Mayor, councillors, you were briefed on this some time ago. Firstly, it was our understanding at the time that there's actually not many councils opening up their facilities for use by homeless people during these scenarios. We've been advised by a number of groups that work in this area that it's not an area that is risk-free. We do need to be mindful of the work health safety environment of our staff. The advice has generally been to leave those activities to those organisations which have greater expertise than what we do. And I guess our response has been, as you've just heard from Mr Tilo, to facilitate those sorts of arrangements in church facilities. And the Mayor and I were just talking, and I'll remind you that we actually provided funds towards that as a council as well. So whilst we're not perhaps opening our facilities directly, there's a number of ways that we are trying to play a positive role in terms of dealing with what is a very complex matter. And we continue to be, I guess, guided and advised by those organisations that are focused on this issue as to the best role that we can play. And I think the work we've done, and credit to Mr Tilo and the City of Playford broadly for what we have done, I think what we've done to date's been good as a response. I think it's a very complex matter to talk about starting to open up our facilities.
Thank you. Look, I do agree with that. It kind of frustrates me, I guess, that we're looking at essentially not-for-profits and churches to essentially help out with the homeless people. And I think that all tiers of government essentially have this responsibility to help people doing it tough. You know, we talk about, okay, so they might have littered some drug needles, and I know that's not great, but they're trying to escape the reality that they're currently facing. I just think that more needs to be done. Like, even a few years ago, it's probably like 5 to 8 years ago, even Hutt Street Centre were having issues trying to get funding to keep going, and now they're talking about needing a bigger facility. And I understand that's in the city. We don't have anything out here. It's all centralised, and I really think that the tiers of government need to work together to actually come up with a solution that works for everyone, because it needs to be funded from all 3 tiers, not just on council.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Strout, you have the right to close if you wish. No. Councillors, we have the motions before us, so I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Are there any other motions without notice? Councillor Rentoulis.
Yes. Thank you, Mr Mayor. Sorry, oh, excellent. It's already been provided to the minute taker. Excellent. Okay, so the motion is in relation to the proposed roundabout at Heaslip and Curtis Road in Anglevale. As many of you are aware, fortunately, that intersection is a hotspot for accidents, many quite serious in nature. Honestly, I don't remember a week that goes by where I don't hear sirens or in relation to a call out at that particular intersection. And I understand that they have the Department of Infrastructure and Transport has commenced works, and that's excellent. I commend them, and I thank the federal government and the state government for contributing the majority of the funding. I know council has done its part as well in relation to stormwater, but this motion, what it seeks to do is it seeks to get answers to the residents. I'm sure all of you here asked questions about that particular intersection. I know I am, Councillor Marsh, Councillor Vanderpeer. People want straightforward answers, specific answers in relation to timetable for completion and the schedule of proposed works. So that's what this motion does. Our Mayor writes to Mr Kutsentonis and asks for some answers to some questions about that roundabout. So I commend it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Does it find a seconder? Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just talk very brief. I was just checking the SAGRN scan, and it's pretty alarming how many accidents and how many times our local emergency service volunteers need to go out to this horrendous intersection. I'm still a bit baffled on how and why there are so many crashes happening here. And I'll make the statement that it's not just a matter of when, not if, I should say. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. There will be a next death at this intersection with this alarming rate. So I do appreciate the advocacy by everyone, and the DIT most recent update talks about they're looking at doing this survey, the service relocation over the coming months, with concept design potentially being released by the end of the year, but it just doesn't give you any update in relation to when the starting of the construction or when the finalisation of it, and that's really the anxious bit that people want to know. So I commend and thanks for the funding by the federal and state, but what they're asking for is when are you going to start to do the works that are required and the completion. So hopefully we can get some clarity.
Thank you, councillor. Any other councillor wishing to speak? If there's no other discussion, it's been moved and seconded. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Are there any other motions without notice? Councillor Rentos.
Thank you, Mayor. I've consulted with Mr Green. It's in relation to the proposed upgrade at Anglevale on Heaslip Road, so between Frad Road and Curtis Road. So we're talking about from the primary school, past the shopping centre, Vigara Winery, Sneakies, all the way up to the intersection. And coincidentally, and I honestly didn't plan this, I've got Mr Vigara here, one of the owners of Vigara Winery. I think he wants to know, because he's certainly been advocating for that stretch of road to be upgraded. I know that council, I believe 2022-23 financial year, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr Green, I believe we committed to detailed design in relation to stormwater provision. That's my understanding. So we are willing, ready and able. We just now need the Department of Infrastructure and Transport to commit funding to do its part so that we can get that strip of road fixed, particularly in front of the shopping centre, Sneaky's Vigara Winery, where it floods every winter because there's no adequate stormwater there. So it's just seeking an update through our through our Chief Executive Officer, Mr Green, who will speak to the CEO of the Department of Infrastructure and Transport. Thank you.
Motion find a seconder. Councillor Marsh.
I'm getting shorter and shorter, Mayor Doherty. I just commend this motion and seeking the update on Heaslip Road. We had a discussion in the chamber here a few months ago, or it could have been greater than that, in relation to a smaller portion of Heaslip Road that we might be able to see could get done when Curtis Road and Heaslip Road was going to be upgraded. So happy for that to be updated to us through an email if required. But again, my understanding of this is that the traffic study of Heaslip Road is broader, and then the sections of Curtis Road and Frad Road, and the fact that they have included the whole of Heaslip all the way to the Northern Expressway. But I just don't understand, and our community doesn't understand, why we haven't got shovels in the ground when back in 2022-23, Council approved their allocation to the stormwater infrastructure on that major main street of Anglevale. So I just hope through our partnership we can get a starting date and we can have that discussion with the chamber with our dollar contributions for that we're required to do with our stormwater and footpaths. Thanks, everyone.
Any other councillor wishing to speak on the item? If not, that's been moved and seconded. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Are there any other motions without notice? No. We'll move on to committee reports. Item 14.1, adoption of the 25-26 annual business plan and budget. On page 19. Now, councillors, you would be aware that we have to receive the most up-to-date information from the Valuer General. You'll be receiving the most up-to-date figures. As you know, they rotate and update those as and when they send them through. This is the most recent version. I'm being advised by Mr Green, so we'll just hand those out for you. And that will also be on the screen as well. And I'll give you a moment to have a look at those. So I'll give you a moment, councillors. It will also be up on the screen, but I'll give you an opportunity to look at those. Councillor Halls.
Sorry, I'd like to move the committee recommendation, please.
You wishing to speak to it?
Only that I want to thank the staff for listening to us for so many months and putting together a very good quality annual business plan. And I think that we've had so many meetings to discuss everything that, and we've all had our input in various ways, one way or another. And I think that this is the best we can do at this point in time.
So, Councillor Halls, you're wishing to move the committee recommendation, but with the tabled updated recommendation, which
Yes,
has
please.
the appropriate figures in it. Just to be clear. Does that find a seconder? Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. Happy to do what I did last time. I'm going to rave on a little bit about what this annual business plan actually is going to deliver for the City of Playford. None of us like to stand up and increase our rates at all every 12 months, but we all do like to stand up to put extra projects forward to have them delivered here in the City of Playford. I want to take a side note. It was interesting, only last night I was listening to another local council just next to us, and they're in a dire straits situation at the moment in relation to having to pull a lot of projects out and defer a lot of projects because they were forecasting a significant deficit in their annual business plan, and their long-term plan also demonstrated that's their financial management in the past with the previous CEO was pretty poor performance. It also demonstrated as well, and this comes back to this annual business plan, that when you've got a council that isn't prudent with their spending, their long-term forecast actually demonstrates you get some significant large rate rises projectly going forward. But Sam, I just want to commend yourself and your staff in relation to the education and the journey that you put us on as council, and that's in relation to understanding what we're going through when it comes to tonight improving our annual business plan. Yet again, I listened to a local council last night who honestly, the councillors said for the very first time under our new CEO, I now understand the annual business plan process. That rang a lot of alarm bells with me, the fact that there's elected members to that council under a previous CEO had no understanding or were being misguided for whatever particular reason, and it's gotten them into the shit today, and they've had to pull out a heap of projects and or maybe reduce services to get their monetary value forwards. It's interesting, only a few weeks ago I was talking to another local council that due to their low rate rises have got them also into a bit of a hole, and that's regarding depreciation. Well, we've been on that journey here at the City of Playford before, and they don't know how to get themselves out of that hole. So coming back to the annual business plan now, I think it's fantastic to see that we've got $38.4 million of capital renewal projects going forwards. It's great. We've got to continue to renew our infrastructure across the City of Playford. We've got over $41 million of multi-year projects from previous years carrying on and going forwards on page 49. New capital projects, and this is the stuff we like to do because we spend a lot of our time on this, but we've got some $37 million worth of new capital projects. Further to that, we're also being donated $39.5 million of assets, and what a lot of people don't understand that is that local council needs to allocate operational costs to those donated assets, which means any new ratepayers that come in, or if we want to reduce a service, we need to use that funding to put towards donated assets. Moving to page 64, it's great to see that through our renewal, we're widening our footpaths. We just spoke today that our footpaths aren't either we're not installing enough, they're not wide enough. So we've got a program that talks about footpath widening, shared use path widening as well. On page 66 and 67, we talk about Killara Reserve building upgrade. So we've gone on a journey and upgraded Killara Reserve, and the current asset that's sitting there, we're looking at using that for another all-purpose use for the City of Playford. I look forward to that journey to go on. Further to that, it talks about we'll obviously upgrade our water delivery and fleet. When we move on to, we're also looking at Brown Circuit Park. So we continue to recognise whatever we got over 60 odd parks that we need to continue to renew and green and uplift our parks across the City of Playford, as that is important. On page 72, we start talking about the capital projects that we need to do in it, and we've had some strong advocates here from this area that wanted to see a Ghana Park started, and we're now starting that journey going forwards. We've got Park Road drainage that's required for growth. We've got the Stevenheath Road and Dalkeith Road roundabout black spot funding, which was a joint venture with with the town of Gawler, and I look forward to that. Might get started sometime next year. Dwight Reserve change rooms will carry on, and there's a couple of other upgrades that need to be done to that club rooms as well, and I see that we might be putting those together, and what a great journey we are on there. Sheedy Road, something that a fellow councillor has been harping on a lot about. We know that we may not have been successful for some funding, but there is funding being allocated to that, and that's a long time coming. Unsealed road capping, another fellow councillor has been harping on a lot about efficiencies and how we can improve our dirt roads, and we're getting on with that. New footpaths, how great's this? Smithfield Plains, Elizabeth Downs, Parks, Davern Park, Virginia, One Tree Hill, one of them's design only, but there's a large variety across the city of Playford of new footpaths being delivered. DDA ramps continue to be delivered across the city of Playford. And then we move on to page 73, 76. Yep, open space. We've had strong advocates for fencing, and I see there's a number of minor projects for a number of parks and reserves for fencing of reserves to be done. So I think we've taken on valuable input by our fellow councillors. From previous years, we've got the Riverlea District Sports Ground upgrade. I'm a major supporter of this because we're actually starting to deliver some social infrastructure in line with growth. The Stevenheath Road Air upgrade, this is a part of road that has got growth on one side, and we haven't been able to put stormwater and stuff on the other side, and I've got residents who are harping on, when are we going to get to work on that one? We then continue to move on to other particular projects in our growth deeds. Now, this is something that I've harped on and beated the drum since 2018 because our growth deeds have failed to deliver across the city of Playford. But it's great to see that Minister Champion has put a infrastructure scheme, if I've got the wording right, over Anglevale, and we might get some delivery. We're moving on to Curtis Road and Frisbee Road intersection design, Chevelle Road, Harris Road, Bubna Road. It was only about 4 or 5 years ago we stood there with all those residents and wanted to start seeing some of that progressing forward. Although it's only concept or detailed design, it's a step forward into the journey in starting to deliver the infrastructure projects. I can carry on for another half an hour and clearly go into depth in what we're delivering, but what I just want to warn our councillors though is there is a significant delivery of projects and services, and I would hate to see day one of the new annual business plan that we knock on the door and start saying, bring back more reports and let's start delivering more. Right now, there is a significant number of multi-year projects that haven't been delivered. There's new services being delivered, and I know full well our staff are going to be under some significant pressure over the next 12 months in delivering every bit of these services and infrastructure. So I'm happy to support the annual business plan.
Councillor Reaping.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Marsh, for reading out the annual business plan. I don't think it's appropriate for councillors to comment on other CEOs' performance from other councils. I had a couple of questions in relation to Dauncey Reserve. Can staff provide an update on the master plan for Dauncey Reserve, please?
Mr. Rowland.
Through the Mayor, thanks for your question, Councillor Reefy. At this stage, preparation for the Dauncey Reserve Master Plan is underway. We're just waiting for the completion of the Elizabeth Oval Master Plan to be fully endorsed by Council before we proceed with further community engagement with the Dauncey Reserve Master Plan. Pending the endorsement of the annual business plan, there are synergies in doing the Ramsay Park Master Plan alongside the Dauncey Reserve Master Plan, and we were just working on the most efficient way of undertaking both of those master plans.
So what's the reason for delay?
Capacity at this stage. We're obviously finalising the Elizabeth Oval Master Plan as the priority, just to get that one through so we can start the next one.
Given that Dauncey Reserve was #1 on the sports strategy,
Yep.
Staff had still considered Elizabeth Oval as a priority?
So Dawncy Reserve was put on hold purely because we did an expression of interest process for the Monopara Sports Ground site, which Elizabeth Grove Soccer Club won that expression of interest, and they're the tenant soccer club of Dawncy Reserve. So we didn't think it was wise to run through a consultation process with Elizabeth Grove Soccer Club at Dawncy Reserve when they're relocating toward to Monopara Sports Ground. So there's going to be some tenancy changes at Dawncy Reserve that we need to be mindful of and aware of before we dive into that master plan.
Cool, thank you. Also, just would like an update. Staff had advised me that in relation to Paddington and Fuller Crescent in Elizabeth East, the road renewal works were scheduled for 2026. I know that they were not included in this budget. Can staff please provide an update on this project?
Ms Mitson.
You do this or do I do this? Thank you. Thank you through the Mayor. I would have to take that on notice. Apologies, Councillor Reefy, I don't have that detail right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to justify my decision on the annual business plan. I think it's one of the most important decisions that the elected members make as the leaders of the community. Look, overall, firstly, I want to thank our residents for their feedback in relation to the annual business plan. I also want to thank our staff for their hard work and diligence in preparing this plan. I think we've done some great work over the years, and I just want to remind councillors that 2014 and until 2018, the council had increased the rate significantly over the four-year period, which resulted in a major change in the council after the 2018 election. I believe 8 or 9 new councillors came in, which clearly sent a message to the council that residents were not happy, especially with the significant rate rises. And from 2018 to 2022, the overall average rate rises were 1.9% over the 4 years, which was credit to the council, and we've done a lot of hard work to ensure that there was minimum impact on our residents. And those years, especially 2020, was pretty difficult. But over the past couple of years, in my view, we have lost our sight. 7.9%, 6.5%, and again 4.5%, which seems to be coming down, however, not as much as our residents would have liked. The feedback that I get from my residents in my community, that the rates have gone up significantly and council needs to live within its means. Although I agree with a lot of the growth stuff that needs to happen, but again, we need to remember that we have established suburbs, the suburbs of Elizabeth area as well. We can't just lose sight of these old established suburbs, which has served our community for many, many years and will continue to do so. We need to continue to focus on investing in our established suburbs. I think this budget is solely focused, in my view, only on growth areas, which is unfortunate. And I'll be pushing over the next 12 months to make sure that we have additional investment in the established suburbs to ensure that we have better footpaths, better roads, better sporting facilities. And for that reason, I won't be supporting the annual business plan. I do think that the residents, again, tonight provided a deputation. There are many people who are impacted by the significant rate rise over the past couple of years. And I don't think that as a council we're in a much better financial position compared to what we were before. I do think that we have capacity to minimise the impact of rate rises for our residents, and I don't think that this budget focuses on our residents, so I won't be supporting.
Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Thank you, Councillor Marsh. You often leave very little to say following your lengthy discussion, and yeah, but thank you, and most of that was relevant. Look, while I share some sentiments with Councillor Reefy, I came to this chamber, downwards pressure on rates, debt management. In 2017, I thought Playfield was on the wrong trajectory, and I came to the table to do my bit to advocate. I can't do anything by myself. It was this chamber from 2008 on, we worked together, we made a difference. So I think well done everyone, well done during that process. I think the leadership of our administration has been very positive, and I think as a teamwork between administration and the elected members, we've done a great job to get it to where it is today. Do I want it to be better? Do I want our debt to be less? Do I want the requirements of the growth impacts to be on our shoulders, which is legislated? We've got to deliver these things for growth. You know, so I then returned to the annual business plan and referred the Essential Services Commission, and I read that pretty carefully. All right, and the advice was there. It was pretty much saying we've done a good job with the debt management, but we've got to act with a lot of caution heading forward. So if we get if our growth gets out of place and we get it wrong, the impact to our debt levels and our rates will be impacted. So we've got to be very careful, but I think in all the planning we've been through and what we've done, our information sessions, our discussions have been really informative. We've worked together well, and where we are here tonight isn't just something that's come to the table, it's a 12-month process. If this has gone to the community, all right, and we had 27 overall responses, all right. I think if you're getting 27 responses and most of those responses are supportive and saying we want community services, we can't be too far out of line with what the community's thinking. In my ward, from my One Tree Hill areas, I noticed in there was no responses. Nothing I noticed from Hillbank. We had 3 from Craigmore. Now, I'm not sure if that was because Craigmore split with Ward 3. I'm not sure if that was our part of Craigmore or not. But overall, I went to the One Tree Hill markets, as I always do with the annual business plan, put out my brochures, things, and everyone doesn't like rates, but no one was constructively had anything objective to say as far as that, and I didn't get anyone saying there was an issue. So while I share the sentiments of Councillor Reefy, yes, we've got to have our debt funding, I'm concerned about where our rates, but when you take everything in and you take in the inflationary pressures, you know, I know Councillor Reefy mentioned the 7.9% rise, but inflation that year was 7.9. So the fact that we managed to keep it at 7.9, given those inflationary pressures, I think was really positive. I think in history, the City of Playfield in the past, to keep rates low, has debt-funded rate rises. And that's a really, really dangerous strategy, and that has caused really big impacts in the past. So I don't want rate rises. 4.5, too much for me. I'd like to be at 3. But when you look at what we've got to deliver, what we've done, all right, I can't stand up here with integrity. If I said, no, we're going to put through a 3% rate rise, I know I'm doing the wrong thing by our ratepayers, all right? It's not a responsible position to take. So I do stand in support of this. And as I say, the other things that I think the community don't often realise, and when people come to me and say the rates are too high, that when you start talking to people and they get the understanding around what's happening and why, the understanding of cost shifting, the requirements that we've got to deliver as council, people get an understanding, all right? And one thing that a lot of people couldn't believe, and I found really astounding this year, was the valuation rolls and what we pay. The fee for a supply evaluation based on capital values has increased by 23% from 24-25. The impact is $63,000 extra for this budget. So this is something that the state government does anyway, and they tell us that we've got to use that for our evaluation process, and then we get charged an extra $63,000 this year. So I see this as a cost shifting. Is that right? Is it wrong? I'm not going to get into that. But if you don't understand where some of these costs are coming from, the impacts, I also found the licensing fees from Microsoft, that the impact for this year, $374,000. So when you start looking at a lot of those things, totally support Councillor Reefy's position, but we've got to be responsible, we've got to manage the city play, we've got to manage our debt, and if we hadn't managed our debt over the last 6 years as a united front on this chamber, we'd be in a worse position. So I do support this annual business plan. Thank you to the administration, thank you to all my fellow elected members who've worked together. As I said, it's been a 12-month process, we've worked together, and if there's issues with it, that should have been voiced well before now. Thank you.
Councillor Bayani.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to begin by acknowledging and sincerely thanking our council staff for their hard work in preparing this annual business plan. The effort, time and planning that goes into this document is significant and really appreciated. While I acknowledge and understand the cost pressure facing our council and recognize the importance of delivering new projects in our growing areas, I have concerns about the lack of funding in this budget for our established suburb. So unfortunately, I'm not supporting this rate increase tonight. What doesn't sit right with me is raising council rates significantly again for the 3rd year in a row, at a time when so many of our residents are already struggling with the rising cost of living. We are told we are a growing city, right? And that's true. 10 new residents moving to Playford Council every single day. New homes are being built, businesses are opening their doors, our population is increasing. Growth should be a good thing, right? I think growth should bring opportunities and not hardship. If our city is growing, we should be attracting more investment. We should be securing more funding from state and federal governments. We should be welcoming business partnerships and increasing our revenue in smarter and more sustainable ways, not by increasing the burden on those who are already doing it tough. So we are seeing homelessness rising right here in our city, as we saw tonight. People are struggling to make ends meet. And I don't believe that putting more pressure on our people is the kind of leadership that they want to see from us right now. And I believe we can do and must do a lot more better than this. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Norris.
Thank you. Look, I always wrangle with this because I completely understand what Councillor Bayani and Councillor Arifi are saying in regards to, the cost of living and the cost pressures that are on all of us. And again, it's as individuals, as ratepayers, even as businesses, and even as a local council, everyone has those cost pressures. What really frustrates me, I guess, is having councillors sit around this room suggesting that they won't support a rate rise, but not giving any meaningful, look into the annual business plan and go, well, actually, we're not going to do this year. Let's take this out. Let's actually amend some things. It's just like, no, I'm not going to support it. We've had a process over the last 12 months, essentially. We do this every year. We've spoken about this. We've had multiple workshops. We've literally sat there and gone, this is what we think is the most important. We need to get these things done. And we literally have councillors that are in their own wards going, we wanted to do these projects, but hey, I'm not going to put my hand up and fund that. We have been really responsible, I think, in terms of lowering debt. I think in regards to actually getting projects done across the city, we're actually being quite responsible. There's things in every single ward. We hear from residents every day that, they want things, and we all do. We want the best of what we can get, right? We want parks, we want great streetscapes, we want safe roads. We get that, but we don't have an unlimited budget. I think this is a responsible budget. I hate rate rises, but they're a necessary evil that essentially we need to keep up our services. We need to keep up the safety aspect of renewal. It needs to get done. So if anyone's got a good idea to lower the rate rise, I'm all ears.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Halls has the... Oh, Councillor Baker.
Mr Mayor, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the staff on an excellent annual business. And going through the plan, I find that it's got a really equitable spread of funding throughout our entire city. And as Councillor Norris has just said, we've had some, I think it's 9 formal meetings and several information sessions over the past 12 months. And on each time and on each occasion, it's been agreed on the program to be presented tonight. But doing a bit of research, an interesting fact is that Australia has 125 plus taxes and levies taken from our residents in Australia. Out of that taxation revenue, the federal government takes 81% of that, or $207 billion. The state government takes 16%, or $4.3 billion. Local government takes 3.4%, which is $140 million, to be shared between 537 local government authorities. And South Australia is particularly disenfranchised because the federal assistance grants, which are based on population, are taken, the only grants to come directly to LG, and the federal historically joins Northern Territory with South Australia. So the fact is that we are considerably less in terms of FAGS grants than we should be. And we must bear in mind that the remainder of the grants allocated to local government are sent to the state, which distribute the monies to the area as it sees fit. And you've only got to look at the state government grant money distribution to see where the bias occurs. I've done some a matrix on the local government metropolitan areas, and the rate rises are proposed to go from 2.5% to 9.49% in WAP. So Playford quite clearly is right smack bang in the middle. And I think we need to bear in mind that every time a phone bill or an electricity bill or a water bill and all the other 124 taxes increased by the state or the federal agencies, local government is also increased and affected by every single one of these, bringing enormous pressure on local government to charge its residents and provide the services. And I do agree, it's a bit disingenuous to say I'm just not going to vote for the rates, but not identify the areas where we can see that the funding should be reduced and identify those. So I commend the staff and the elected members who've consistently looked at this bill for the last 12 months, and I look forward to implementing the budget.
Any other councillors? Councillor Smiljanec.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I wanted to again thank the staff for putting together this document. It's not just the staff, it's also our residents who raise these issues to our council staff to implement. Also the elected members speaking up on behalf of our community as well. So I won't harp on what other councillors have said around the chamber at the moment, but I do just want to say thank you for really listening to our staff, our community in Ward 3 in particular, Craigmore and Hillbank, with the infrastructure renewals of the roads and in particular the footpaths in Craigmore. So thank you very much, staff. And yeah, I'm very impressed with the way the layout is of the document. Very well designed. It's got really good images and tables and really easy to read. So well done to the staff, and looking forward to what the next 12 months has for our council.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Hall, you have the right to close as the mover if you wish.
Thank you, Your Worship. I looked at this budget and I think that after all the time that we all put in together to talk about it, we talked between each other, out of hours, trying to consolidate our knowledge and know where we were going. And I think that sharing the work that our residents need in our wards around so that each ward is getting something done, I think is paramount. And we've done that. I think we've done that. We're all getting something. We can't all just throw it into Ward 1 or Ward 3. You know, I think that each time we do an annual business plan, we need to make sure that something gets done of monument in each ward so that all of our residents get to feel that they're being brought up to standard to the new areas, as well as maintaining a standard within our Playford Council. And I'm not one for having raised the rates. I really am very think about it really, really hard to raise the rents. And I did recall that during the 2 years of COVID that we had, we raised the rates very minimally. And unfortunately now we're having to pick up some of that slack that we didn't pick up back then. We felt for our residents, we did that for our residents, and we cut down everything to the barest minimal. And now they're getting to see effort for what they're going through as well. I mean, we still haven't raised the rates a great deal, and we're still going to manage to do and deliver the things that they want us to deliver, that we hear them screaming out that they want, because we're growing areas. We have 3 growth areas in Playford, and I think that trying to do everybody, we are doing well by putting out and doing every ward. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. We have the motion that's before us. I'll put those in favour. Those against? I've got to call the vote for. The vote is carried. The division's been called, so the motion is set aside. Those voting for the motion, if they can rise in their place. So for ease of the minute taker, those voting no are Councillor Bayani and Councillor Arifi. The motion is carried. We move on to item 14.2, the adoption of the 25-26 long-term financial plan on page 227. Someone wish to move something? Councillor Marsh. Happy to move. Does it find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Baker.
Second that.
Does the mover and seconder wish to speak? Any other councillor wishing to speak on the moving of the committee recommendation? Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Just another thank you to the staff for putting this together. It is just a quick document to sort of talk about our long-term financial plan. It is something that is really important to have that focus on the long term, especially here around the chamber, looking at the future, where the City of Playford is going. So there will be tweaks every year, looking at the forecasting of asset renewals, etc. So it's really important to take note of that longer mindset and that strategic effect that we have here in the City of Playford, that yes, we do have to think about the now and look after our residents now, but we also have to look at that intergenerational long-term plan for our residents and our community and future community as well. So well done to the staff.
Thank you, councillor. Any other councillor wishing to speak? No. Councillor Marsh, you have the right to close if you wish. No. I'll put that as before us. All those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Division's been called, so the motion has been set aside. Those voting for the motion, could they rise in their place? For the ease of the minute taker, that is Councillor Arifi and Councillor Bayani are against. Both divisions were called by Councillor Halls, this and for the previous one. We move to the adoption of the 25-26 Strategic Asset Management Plan on page 271. Councillor Stroud.
The recommendation.
Moved by Councillor Stroud. Does it find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Baker. I'm presuming that the mover and seconder aren't wishing to speak anywhere else. Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Again, well done to the staff for putting this together. It's actually a really good read. I don't know if you've had a quick look at the diagrams and just seeing what software programs that our team actually use to be able to look at that strategic management plan moving forward and our assets. So even just looking at the data that we've received over the last couple of years with regards to the condition of our roads and the way that it is how it is documented and that our staff refer back to that information. So it's one of those things where we really need our community to continue to provide that continuous improvement that's required in in our city. So then that way we can document and update these plans or these particular the asset management plans for the future. So I definitely want to reiterate how important this document is for our council, for our elected members and our community. And it is a really good document to read if you have some spare time. Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Strout has the right to close if she wishes. No. We had the motions before us. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 14.4, CBD Communications Plan on page 323. Somebody wish to move something? Councillor Baker.
Move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Does it find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Onyazans. Does the mover and seconder wish to speak? No, I'm taking it. Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Everyone's wondering why is this person always talking. I'm very passionate about this. Communication is so important for our community, and you know, as we had deputations up about transparency and talking about about the confidentiality of items, I get that we do have to go into confidential for some items, and in particular for something such as the CBD and the future planning. I think it's so important that all us staff, elected members, are all on the same wavelength when it comes to what is confidential and what is not, because we want to give our community the information. We want to. There's no, that we don't want to hide any information at all. That's not their purpose. There's purpose behind it from a strategic point of view, not to be secretive or trying to keep things away from our community. So I look at this and go, this is really good for our elected members to be able to put that communication plan ahead, and then that way we can guide and support our community in what is happening in our CBD and what's happening in the future. So very good communications plan, so thank you to the staff for putting it together.
No other councillors are wishing to speak. Councillor Baker has the right to close if she wishes. No. We have the motions before us. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 14.5, development of a heritage and historical asset strategy on page 349. Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks for that, and I'm appreciative to Councillor Smiljanic for you bringing this forward as well, that the last services and everyone else who supported it. I think we've spoken about this in depth. This is a start of a journey that I hope to see. We may not be the council of today to implement the strategy, but we're definitely going to be the council that has started it and started the conversation, just like we have with sports strategies and open space and tree canopy and stuff like that. So exciting times, and I really look forward. There's a number of elected members who have spoken about uplifting places of significance, activation, and also obviously investment. Whatever investment is, that depends on the asset as we go along the journey. So I look forward for the next council, if they're the ones who do the endorsement, but I think we should be pretty proud that we're the ones who initiated this strategy. Thanks, everyone.
Councillor Hall, was you wishing to second?
Yes, thank you.
Do you wish to speak?
No, I think it's all been said, thank you.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. Look, I love the fact that Councillor Marsh actually brought this forward to the last strategy and services meeting, and I think it was one document. It's a strategy that will be really beneficial to our city. So I do have some notes here. Please forgive me while I read it, because I think it's so important that us as a young city, we have plenty of history, and as again we've had the deputies come up and talk passionately about our heritage sites of the Anglevale Bridge, for example. Perhaps if we had a strategy, perhaps if we had guidance of what to do in situations where they are historical or some heritage listing guidance within the council, it may or may not have prevented such a thing. So, hey, let's nip it in the bud now. Let's find, moving forward, ways to essentially not have this happen again. So I just wanted to do a little bit of research, a little bit of information. So we have a lot of history through the city of Elizabeth back in 1964, before it merged with the city of Manapara in 1997. So honestly, it's under my understanding that our community will greatly benefit from the development of this document. Me being quite new to the area, it's one of those things, when I say new, in the last sort of 6 to 7 years, I want to know about the heritage. I want to know more about our city. And I think it's important that we establish clear frameworks that will guide how we preserve and reflect on our past to ensure our community stories, places, and cultural identity that's shaped our city for future generations to come. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this takes us, and I'm looking forward to see what our staff do. Thank you.
Councillor Craig.
Yeah, just want to echo the comments already made. Of course, we all share that sentiment for our city and its history, and I'm sure we'll thrash it all out in a lot more detail, but I know just for myself, I just had occasion lately to visit the Ely Road Cemetery and with an international visitor, and it's a bit embarrassing really to show someone from elsewhere to the state of some of our historical places. And I'm sure whatever our decision about the Anglevale Bridge, as Mr Vergara has shared his passion for it, it's just something to mark these places is important, something to recognise them, to have some record of history so that future residents and visitors to our city can, see some of the history of our city and some of the legacy that we have. And it's good to mark that and not to miss that or lose that.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Marsh, you have the right to close if you wish. No. Councillors, with the motion that's before us, I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Division's been called. Motion is set aside. All those voting for the item, if they could rise in their place. And for ease of the minute taker, that's everybody. We move to item 14.6, flying of flags, policy and procedure. Somebody wish to move that way? Councillor Halls.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to move the flags and flying flags policy, please.
Committee recommendation?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. Is it fine a seconder? Councillor Norris?
And I think that what we've got here is good to go, so there's no real debate. Thank you.
Does any other councillor wish to speak? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 14.7, Code of Practice for Council and Committee Meetings. Councillor Norris.
Thank you. Look, I am happy to move the committee recommendation. I would like to speak to it, if that's all right. I just wanted to let elected members around the chamber know we did actually have a fair bit of sort of, not debate, but, a bit of good discussion around some of the stuff that was put into this policy. In particular, one that I'd just like to bring up to your attention is the second dot point down, so clause 5.9 under clarification. So there was a proposal in the policy to actually align questions without notice to only items on the agenda. So questions without notice must be related to items on the agenda. And we sort of came to an agreement that we rechanged the wording to questions without notice should be closely related to agenda items or matters of urgency. So I know it still says should, but there's scope there, obviously. It's not high modality. There's still scope there for you guys to bring urgent matters back to the chamber and be able to ask those questions. So I just thought I'd reiterate that. But otherwise, I think we sort of nutted it out in the committee. And it looks reasonable, but I'm open to your interpretation as well. Thank you.
Find a seconder. Councillor on his ends.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I have nothing else to add. It's all been said. Thank you.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I do have a concern with one and the second dot point. Questions without notice should be closely related to the agenda items or matter of urgency. And I understand it says should. All right, so long as it's clearly understood, should, because I think the intention of that, I understand, but also if there's any relevant matter that comes up that is a question relevant to the City of Playford, our residents, we should be able to ask that at any time. So I just want to make sure we are clear. Should is just a guiding principle. It doesn't mean we're locked into it. And because who's going to make the judgment of what is a matter of urgency, because we've got no definition. All right, so, but I think the word should covers it, and on that basis I'm happy to support it, but just being totally clear on that point.
Are there any other councillors you see? Councillor Antoulis.
Thank you, Mayor. Just off the back of what Councillor Kerrison just said, can I just get our CEO's interpretation of that? Is that how you interpret that, Mr. Green? So if any councillor wants to bring something up and it's not closely related, are they going to be prohibited? Are they going to be stopped in any way? I assume the answer is no.
Through the Mayor, I mean, ultimately the decision for whether a question's accepted or not is for the presiding member of the meeting. My interpretation is should does provide scope for other questions to come forward if it's necessary to ask them at that point in time.
Councillor Halls.
I'd just like to reiterate that I have the same issue because I would say that the three motions without notice that were brought to us tonight would not eventuate if we say this, and therefore should is such a broad spectrum. Who's going to control it? I think that it doesn't belong there at all, and I won't be voting for this.
Councillor Craig.
I share the sentiments, really. I think we should have a full democracy here, that if we want to raise something off the top of our head, at the drop of a hat, if it's important enough, we should have the freedom of expression, freedom of democracy, to freedom of speech to say, hey, I want to raise this question without notice, and we shouldn't be any muzzling of whatever we want to raise. We're an intelligent group of people. We should have the opportunity to do that without any constraints. So I share the same sentiments.
Councillor Stroll.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually find this recommendation insulting towards our councillors. For one, if our council, residents, ask us a question in regards to homelessness, for example, I've had multiple people come to me about homelessness, hence why I've asked a question last meeting and a motion this meeting. I find it insulting that, yes, it does say should, but we should be allowed to speak whenever we want. Freedom of speech is a big thing in this chamber, and it's actually very difficult to understand why this has come up now instead of at the strategic meeting, as Councillor Halls raised.
Councillor, on your hands. That's right. You have spoken, Councillor, on your hands.
Oh, okay.
You can only ask a question. Councillor on your hands. You asking a question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I did actually ask that question on the night at the commission meeting, and there was an indication there that it could actually be put under question without notice. Or with notice, sorry, question with notice. If I remember it correctly, we sort of talk along that line that, okay, if you've got something very important or urgent, then you can actually raise that at the question on notice.
Yes, that's Mr. Green.
If you could just elaborate more further, CEO, perhaps. Thank you.
Yeah, through the Mayor, I think we're all aware of the options you've got to ask questions on notice or without notice. The draft that was considered by the committee just spoke about matters where the committee resolved was that the matters should be related to agenda items or of an urgent nature. Without rehashing what was a very long conversation, some of the feedback that were presented by staff was that we don't think we give you our best when we're asked questions on the fly and we don't have the appropriate time to gather information. or to consider what's being asked of us in what is a very public forum, and now in what is a forum that is streamed to the internet and left on the internet forever. So to give a bit more context, it was actually a conversation about how we better serve the council. It was nothing to do with muzzling the council. It was about how we better serve you. And there was a long conversation about that. Where the committee ended up, I'm quite comfortable with. I'm happy to let you debate it.
Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I'm quite happy to support this committee recommendation. I think for elected members' interest, if you actually read the Local Government Act or look at the meeting procedures under the Local Government Act, this recommendation is almost word for word what is actually contained in the Act. So I don't think there's anything insulting or untoward in presenting it to the Chamber if it's something already contained within the Act.
Councillor Smiljaney.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. As someone who was on the committee meeting as well, the original statement, so you've got that particular questions without notice should be closely related to agenda items and matters of urgency. The original that was actually going to be was questions without notice should be restricted to matters closely related to agenda items or matters of urgency. As a committee, we don't agree with that. We don't think that it's solely restricted to matters closely related. It should be, because sometimes there are questions that us councillors ask, myself included, that could be a customer support raised through our customer support team. Like our fellow, like our CEO just mentioned there are points with regards to our staff want to be able to give us good information, quality information, and because they're not made aware of this information until right at the end and they're put on the stand, which they might not have the information. They want to give us a good, updated information. So it's one of those things where I get the fact that people are concerned about the should. It is up to our interpretation. It is up to us to go, you know what, that is a matter of urgency for our community and I'm going to raise it. No one's going to judge you or pick you up on that. If you think that it's important and a matter of urgency or it's related to our agenda item, please raise it. If it is something that perhaps could be through a CRS process or an offline discussion, well then do that. But if you think it's a matter of urgency, definitely bring it. No one's telling you not to. So for me personally, I don't like the fact that it should be restricted, no, but I think it should be closely related to the agenda item or matters of urgency for our council. Thank you.
Councillor Antoulis, you've already spoken. You're asking a question?
I have a question just for the CEO, Mr Green. If this doesn't get up, what happens? So obviously, let's say it fails. What's the next steps?
Mr Green.
Through the Mayor, councillors, if the committee's recommendation is not resolved and you don't resolve anything else, the status quo will prevail. So the current conditions will prevail, which don't have the change, just for your benefit, that matters be restricted. So we'll just revert to what we currently operate under until a point in time where the council resolves to change anything.
Councillor Halls, you've already spoken on this one. You can ask a question.
So on page 17, what is it? 391, where it talks about motions with notice, it talks about should be restricted as it was for questions on notice. So I don't believe that would have happened if the three motions earlier today would have been put up. So I would be happy if that was...
So what's your question, Councillor? We've already spoken.
Well, that's what I want to ask. If that can be changed, I mean, the only other option I see is to ask about putting questions on the Strategic and Services Committee as well, so that instead of waiting a month for questions, we're only waiting a fortnight.
I'll see if Mr Green or someone wants to provide any comment on the questions for strategic and other committees. Mr Green.
Through the Mayor, look, ultimately, councillors, you can run your meetings any way you see fit, as long as they stay within what are somewhat broad guidelines of the Local Government Act. So that's a decision for you, ultimately. The way we try and design our meetings is for efficiency and effectiveness and transparency and all those elements. But how you ultimately run them is up to you.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. Can you hit your buzzer? Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Yes, thank you. Look, I'm looking at clause 5.9 up there where it says questions without notice should be closely related to agenda items or matters of urgency. I kind of think that covers it. I really do. I mean, if I've got something urgent, I can bring it up. But I do agree that they should be closely related to agenda items on a general basis, or matters of urgency, so I can't see what the problem is, really.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Norris, you have the right to close if you wish. Councillor Norris, you have the right to close if you wish.
I'm trying to change the light colour. I know that you've got control. All right, look, this was always going to be controversial. We knew it was going to be controversial. I get that the wording still kind of sounds like it's restricting us, but realistically, it's not. You've still got the ability to put the questions out there. I'm all for whatever way you guys want to go. We definitely had a lot of debate around this. If you guys don't feel comfortable with that and feel like that's still restrictive, it's completely up to you at the end of the day. So we can go back to the drawing board. We can continue with the same current procedure that we've got.
Thank you, councillors. I'll put the motions before us. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Motion is lost. Division's been called. The motion is set aside. Those voting for the motion, if you can rise in your place. I don't. Councillors, for ease of minute taker, councillors, I need you to make a decision, either standing or sitting. Councillor on your ends. Okay, you're standing. I'll keep everyone standing up. So those voting for are Baker, Onyuzans, Arifi, Smallwood-Smith, Bayani and Smiljanek. Motion is lost. We move to Community Engagement Policy and Procedure Review on page 461. Somebody wish to move something? Councillors, we're on item 14.8, Community Engagement Policy and Procedure Review. Does somebody wish to move that way? Councillor Smallwood-Smith?
Move the committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, thank you. Does it find a seconder? Councillor Onyuzans?
Yes, happy to second that, Mayor. Thank you.
I'm presuming the mover and seconder aren't wishing to speak. Are there any other discussions from councillors? If not, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 15.1, appointment of Council Assessment Panel independent members. Councillor Arifi?
Committee recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Arifi. Does that find a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Halls.
Thank you, I'll second that.
Does the mover and seconder wish to speak? Does any other councillor wish to speak? If no other councillor wishes to speak, then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 15.1, appointment, 15.2, council submission on the South Australia's public transport strategy, page 520. Councillor Strollett.
Happy to move the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Strollett. Are you wishing to speak on it? No. Is it fine a seconder? Councillor Bayani.
Happy to second.
Happy to second. I'm presuming you're not wishing to speak? No. Any other councillors wish to speak? Councillor Arifi.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just had a question and a comment to staff in relation to page 533. The comment around the suburb of Ayr is not served by a bus service at all. Look, I think it's a bit unfair because Walmer Road does have a bus service, and if you look at on Google Maps, the suburb of Ayr is newly developed, and it's quite close to Walmer Road and does provide, closely connected to the bus service. So I don't think that comment is fair and doesn't help our submission, in my view. I think if we can leave that one out, and I'll leave it up to the CEO to determine that, because, I don't think that's fair comment in relation to that.
Pia.
Thanks, Mayor Doherty. I was actually going to seek to clarify that exact point because I had a look into it, and I believe that Ayr is serviced by route 450 and 488, and we did actually, I remember moving a motion on the topic of buses in Ayr, and we advocated to the state government to introduce, we asked them to install several new bus stops to service the suburb of Ayr, so it might be quite unfair if we were to say to the state government that there aren't any services at all.
Thank you, Councillor Vanderveer. Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Smiljanic.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I just have I guess first I'll do a statement and then maybe ask the question. With regards to bus shelters, I look at it and go, so this is page 536. Very passionate about bus shelters because we have a lot of elderly around our area and young people. We've got disabilities, we've got people with prams, small children, and bus shelters with seating is so important at major areas close to shopping centres, schools, etc. So I see that council advocates for the Department for Infrastructure and Transport to fund the installation of additional bus shelters within the City of Playford. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that the state government place the routing of these bus stops, and we don't know where they're going to be. So technically, at the end of the day, if we put a bus shelter and then the state government go, actually, that's not going to be our route, that bus shelter then is no longer useful, then, what do we do with that? So I guess my question is, moving forward is, does the City of Playford have intentions on perhaps utilising some of the bus shelters that we already have, perhaps previously purchased, or is there scope to be able to work with the Department of Infrastructure and Transport to perhaps, for those urgent bus shelters that we actually need, that City of Playford fund and then perhaps be reimbursed? Because there are times where the process is slow, there's a lot of red tape, and our people, I know that we've got that strategic look, but looking at, I guess, the now in our growing community, that there will be locations where bus shelters will be needed sooner rather than later.
We'll just wait for the staff to do rock, paper, scissors to work out who was going to answer. Sorry. Mr Colhane lost. Mr Colhane.
Through the Mayor, thank you for the question, Councillor. In regards to bus shelters, there's an existing council resolution that I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it reads that the Department of Transport and Infrastructure is responsible for funding bus shelters, and it's not the responsibility of the City of Playford. Okay,
thank you.
Councillor Vanderpeer, are you asking a question? Councillor Vanderpeer.
Thank you. Just a question to follow on from Councillor Smiljanic on the topic of bus shelters. I was hoping if that staff could give us an update on the project they were looking into, where there would be a sort of private partnership that involved advertising on bus shelters. I think it's been almost 2 years since I asked for something to be done about it. So if we could get an update, that would be great.
Mr. Pattinson.
So it is one of the issues which is contemplated in the transport strategy, which is currently under preparation. We've had significant movement in staff who've been developing that, and we've actually got our new transport planner here tonight, Michael Whitford, who, since starting just under 3 months ago, has picked up the transport strategy as well and has been in a position that we're looking to bring it to council in the next couple of months. So it's contemplated in that. The actual extent of work looking at the opportunities around that hasn't progressed significantly.
Thank you. Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Councillor Vanderpeer, for the question, and thank you, Mr. Patterson, for that response. Look, bus shelters, I certainly support bus shelters, but it's always been my understanding that it was a state responsibility, and this is just another case of cost shifting, and tonight we're having discussions on rate rises and how much the rates are and how much we want to keep them down. If we take on bus shelters, I'm sure the state government will hand them to us free of charge at a big cost. So, well, as just said, that's already part of the process. So I think it's about avocation, seeing what we can do and seeing how we can make this as cost neutral as we can for our residents. So, as I said, once again, thank you, Councillor Vanderpeer, for that question, and it's timely for that discussion. Thank you.
Councillor Halls.
Thank you, Your Worship. I thank the staff and the CEO and the Mayor for putting this together. I think that it goes a short way. It doesn't go far enough. I think that with the state government moving our elderly management healthcare-wise to Modbury Hospital, the frequency of the buses and that go there and the from hospital to hospital needs to be looked at as well, and to even actually implement one that just goes to the hospitals, because we have a lot of people that go to the Lower McEwen who then get referred on to the QEH or the RAH, Flinders and Modbury for various things. And to get there, it's a nightmare. So I think that, you know, in the next letter that we do for this, I think that we should just take that step further. Thank you.
Are there any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Stroud has the right to close if she wishes. No. Councillors, we have the motion as before us. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. We then move on to 15.3, City of Playford submission on the Mumford Road Code Amendment. Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. Happy to move the staff recommendation, and I just hold some major reservations until such a time, and I know it's been put in there that some sort of deed or whatever they want to call it tomorrow is put over it. I'm very cautious. I know it's in the city of Salisbury, but once they jump over the other side to us, I seriously hope we take a learning from our growth of today and get this new precinct, which is going to unlock a significant parcel of new commercial land for the local area.
Thank you, Councillor Marsh. Does it find a seconder? Does it find a seconder? Yeah, I don't know, it's just died up here too. There's nothing here. It's all gone. All right, councillors, just try that now. All right, we're back. The tech guys have fixed it. Councillor Smiljanic.
Happy to second.
Happen to second that? Excellent. Does any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
I just want to be reminded where Mumford Road is, please.
Mr Pattinson.
A couple of months ago, we brought you the Mill Road Code Amendment. Mumford Road, yep. Mumford Road is south of Mill Road, so it's between Waterloo Corner and Mill Road, and within the city of Salisbury.
Any other councillor wishing to speak on the item? If not, Councillor Marsh, you have the right to close if you wish. No. Councillors, where the motion is put before us, I'll put that. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Move to item 15.4, Budget Update Report. Councillor Baker.
Move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Does the item find a seconder? Councillor Strowett.
Happy to second.
The mover and seconder wishing to speak? No. Any other councillor wishing to speak? No. Then I'll put that. Those in favour? Those hold on, councillors. We'll have to retake that vote as we had a councillor walking through the chamber and they've either be seated or have left the room while a vote is being undertaken. So I'll retake that vote. All those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried, just so we are compliant with the Act. We move on to item 16, informal discussion, which is nil. We move to item 17.1, Anglevale Bridge, page 561. Councillor Halls.
I move the committee recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Halls. Do you wish to speak to that? Does it find a seconder? Councillor Smallwood-Smith.
Second that, thank you.
Smallwood-Smith. Does anyone wish to speak? Is it moving seconder wish to speak? Councillor Smallwood-Smith, you wishing to speak? No. Any other councillor? Councillor Rantoulis.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I rise to speak against the motion to go into confidence. As you're aware, I've been consistent with this particular matter and with the issue of confidentiality more generally. The future of the Anglevale Heritage Bridge must be discussed in public. We've got two people here that have come tonight, provided deputation specifically for this, and we've had, I believe, 7 submissions in total at very short notice. The bridge was one of only 2 remaining laminated bridges in Australia, so the history is significant. It was a state heritage listed bridge and was built in Anglevale around 1862. It underwent significant renovations sometime in or about 1988. Before Anglevale was known as Anglevale, the township was named Ebenezer. The bridge played a significant role in the post-colonial history of Anglevale. The logo of the Anglevale Primary School has the bridge on it. The nearby Woodbridge Estate was named after this bridge. Unfortunately, this motion has become controversial, not only because the bridge collapsed under the watch of the City of Playford and Lower Light Regional Council, but because of what we have sought to do since this topic came to the Chamber for discussion in late 2024. That is, we have sought to debate this topic behind closed doors. You can argue that the bridge and the report should be in confidence. I submit to you respectfully that a legal argument can be made for any argument. The point is that putting this motion into confidence is not the right thing to do. The former bridge is a topic of intense community interest. The people of Anglevale and Playford have a right to have their say on its future. Councillors, while the administration and I disagree on whether it was correct that there be a staff recommendation placing this into confidence, one thing we do agree on is that the decision ultimately falls with you. We do not have to endorse the recommendation. I'm asking you to vote against moving this motion into confidence. You have seen, as I said before, at least 7 written submissions from people that are passionate about the bridge and its history in both Angle Vale and Playford more generally. You've also heard from 2 deputies this evening. Both have made powerful and passionate pleas to you. The attachment that had 6 commercial options was released at the Strategy and Services Committee meeting 2 weeks ago. Moreover, there is a staff recommendation tonight that the minutes be released shortly after the conclusion of tonight's meeting, once our CEO consults with Light Regional Council. For our residents to truly understand the minutes, the debate needs to be held in a public spotlight, otherwise it just won't make any sense to anyone. So I ask that you vote against the recommendation, and just very, very quickly, just a couple of the responses to the topic. Liana Sell from Angle Vale: the loss of the bridge was deeply felt in the community, and the way the site is treated going forward matters greatly. Please ensure residents are consulted, informed and respected throughout this process. Last one. Jamie Kearns: I'm writing as a long-term resident who holds a deep connection to the Angle Vale Heritage Bridge. As someone who grew up in the area, I remember the bridge fondly. It wasn't just a structure, it was part of our community's identity and history. It hurts to think that after its collapse, it may never be rebuilt or preserved as a heritage icon. Residents deserve to know what is being considered and have the opportunity to contribute to decisions that affect our local heritage. Thank you. Please vote against putting this into confidence.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, after taking advice, I'm of the opinion that this should be kept in confidence, and I'd like to ask our administration the reasoning behind this.
Mr Graham.
Through the Mayor, councillors, there's probably 3 primary reasons why our recommendation is that this remain in confidence. The first one is that the report that you're asked to consider tonight contains confidential resolutions of a previous decision of the council which haven't been released for public. So you have a confidential resolution that hasn't been released, firstly. Secondly, there's a third party involved here who's provided information associated with this matter who have not indicated that their information is to be publicly released at the moment, and I don't believe they've done so. Thirdly, you have a Strategy and Services Committee that has maintained this information in confidence as well, and they have not released that information publicly. So if you were to do that, you would effectively be releasing confidential information that is still being held in confidence by the Strategy and Services Committee. I might also take this opportunity to remind you that the recommendations of those committees are still confidential and shouldn't be spoken about in this debate.
Do you have anything else, Councillor Baker? Do you have anything else, or is that you're done? Sorry? You're done speaking? You didn't have anything else? I know you asked the question. No, you don't. Councillor Kerrison.
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I think right now, at this point in time, this is contentious. We've had Mr Green say confidential resolutions are still in play. Third party, obviously being the third party, which is not hard to work out. And obviously the motion at the Strategy and Services Committee meeting was voted to keep in confidence. So I can understand why the administration's gone down this track. However, since I've come to this chamber, I've always wanted to stand for and fight for improved transparency. And the whole way through this process, I just say we could have managed this, I think, differently. I think we could have managed it better for improved transparency. So look, I totally support Councillor Rentoulis's position, but right now we're all in a difficult position given the landscape where we are. So look, I really respectfully acknowledge that. So I think it should be transparent. I think it should be open to the public. We could have managed this differently, and I think we need to take this as a very much a learning step, and we probably need to take more decisive action probably earlier on where we can on these matters. My question to Mr Green tonight, because I would like to see this open and transparent, is can we somehow release those resolutions? And if we're having discussions with third parties, surely we can put a understanding forward that our side of the fence is not transparent and it's going to be to the public interest. And I think for all parties, this should have been, let's be transparent to our communities, and predominantly affects, I believe, the Playford community. So my second question is, why couldn't we have taken that approach? And so, one, can we resolve this tonight by releasing those resolutions? And two, can we do things differently in future?
Mr Green.
Through the Mayor, firstly, councillors, the council can resolve to release information that the council has kept in confidence. What the council can't do is release information that the committee has kept in confidence. Only the committee can do that. So you can essentially go part way, but in going part way, you would be breaching the confidentiality provision that the committee has in place over the same information. That's the answer to the first question. Second question is, can these things be done better? It's a complicated matter, and there's been a number of reports over this over time. We've certainly reflected on that as we've gone. We give you our best recommendations as we go, but as stated earlier, it is the decision always of the committee or the council whether you choose to pass these resolutions and go into confidence.
Councillor Craig.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'm a little torn on this one because I can see both sides of the argument. I try to be even-handed with everything. I wonder whether there might be some way that we could still open it up for open public scrutiny whilst not infringing on the confidentiality aspects, whether there's some way, some middle of the road position we could come, so we're balancing that transparency alongside with reasonable maintaining of confidences, whether we just limit discussion to a degree that we don't encroach on those things that are confidential, where we're not breaching any confidences we want to keep. I'm just trying to explore, is there any option, any alternative, any way we can bring it to the public forum without breaching the confidential? If we can have an understanding, we won't enter into discussions about X, Y, Z, and we just keep it to the main issue about options to pursue whatever decision we want to make about the bridge. Just whether Mr Green might have an option, a suggestion along that line.
Mr Green.
Through the Mayor, councillors, no. The short answer is no. There's no way to part do this, and there's no way to, I guess, make a verbal commitment that you'll maintain your discussion to particular elements. It's my job to give you the best advice possible. The option for you to have this conversation in open council doesn't, in my view, doesn't exist for this evening. What you could do is defer the matter, which would enable the committee to consider whether it's prepared to release the information that it's kept in confidence, which would have to happen at the next committee meeting, which is a decision for the committee. The council can't impose a position on that committee. And if that were to be the case, then the council could consider to release its information. We've also still got the issue of the third party's involvement in this, but so that's the pathway that you would need to take to do that.
Any other councillor wishing to speak? Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Doherty. I had my I sort of actually aligned with going into confidence until such a time some further information was released to the broader community, and that's the images and the costings to those, which is what I took as being a major part in why we were having those discussions in whole, and I respect that there's other parties in play here, which is publicly known who the asset owners are. My view would be that if this is voted down to foreshadow a motion, that it sends this back to the committee for review over the confidentiality. So I'll foreshadow that if this doesn't get up.
Any other councillors wishing to speak? If not, Councillor Halls has the right to close if she wishes. No? So when said, councillors, we have the motion that is before us, so I'll put that. Those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4. The item is carried. Division's been called by Councillor Rentoulis. The motion is set aside. Those voting for the motion, if they can rise in their place. So for the ease of the minute taker, those voting against are Councillor Marsh, Councillor Kerrison, Councillor Vanderpeer and Councillor Rentoulis. So pursuant to section 92 of the Local Government Act 1999, an order has now been made that the public be excluded for attendance at the meeting, with the exception of the staff listed. Under section 93G, I ask that the gallery be vacated and the doors be closed. And if you're a staff member not listed, you need to leave the room.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the City of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults, plus the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manopara? Designed to support growth in the City of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au, and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manopara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of local and national performances to Elizabeth.
For more information on their upcoming shows, visit theshedley.com.au or call 8256 0500.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.
Want to know what's happening in the community? Subscribe to our e-newsletter, Playford News, at playford.sa.gov.au and you'll be on top of stories, news and what's happening in Playford. It's local news for local people.
Want to get involved in your community? There are so many benefits in becoming a volunteer at City of Playford, including meeting new people, developing new skills, sharing your talents, improving your employability, as well as enhancing your own mental health and well-being.
If you want to learn more about how to volunteer with us, visit playford.sa.gov.au/volunteers. Feedback about our city's future from our community is really important. It helps us prioritise your needs when planning services, projects and other initiatives.
A convenient way to have your say and stay in the loop on any upcoming consultations is by registering your details on our Engagement Hub website at playford.engagementhub.com.au.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you visited the Stratton Centre on Peachy Road, Manapara? Designed to support growth in the city of Playford, the centre offers dedicated workspaces from less than $10 per day. There's also state-of-the-art event and meeting spaces for hire, a complimentary business support service to help you upskill, apply for grants and grow, workshops and networking, as well as training for young kids right through to adults. Plus, the City of Playford Library.
Contact our team for a tour on 8254 4666 or visit the Stratton Centre at 307 Peachy Road, Manapara.
Support your local theatre and arts industry and enjoy a show at the Shedley. Playford's iconic Shedley Theatre is bringing a great selection of...
Thank you, councillors. We're now back in the open section of the meeting. Thank you, councillors. There's no other items. I'll close the meeting at 10:21. Thank you for your attendance.
Did you know your food scraps should go in the green bin or a home compost system? It's better for the environment. It's the right thing to do. And it's easy. Fight food waste by putting all your food scraps, peels and leftovers in the green bin. To find out more, visit playford.sa.gov.au/fightfoodwaste.